played on a table and it has a net, and net divides court into two parts. If we look at the table from side, this is how it looks like. The table is divided into two parts by the net. On the one side you are in the black uniform and you have your opponent in the blue side. Now the service in table tennis is very different. When you're serving, you toss the ball, you hit the ball by your racket, and it should bounce on your side of the table first, then go over the net, and it should bounce on your opponent's side. Very different from tennis. So ball should bounce on your side first and then on the opponent's side only during serve. After you have served, if your opponent is trying to hit the ball, he need to hit the ball onto your side. If opponent hits the ball on his side, then that is wrong. So opponent need to hit the ball on your side, and then you need to hit the ball on your opponent's side, and the game goes on like that. So you're wondering, how do you win points? Let's talk about that stuff. You can hit a very fast shot and your opponent is not able to make a contact. That is a winner. Another way to win a point is two bounces. So if your opponent hits the ball after the ball has made two bounces on the table, it's called double bounce and you win the point. Another way is if your opponent hits the ball and it doesn't bounce on the table, that would be an outside and you would win the point. Another case is opponent hits the ball into the net. In that case also you would win the point. So these are all the ways in which you can win the points in table tennis. One thing I would like to bring to your attention is when you're serving, if ball hits the net and go to the other side, it's called as let, and in that case you would reserve it. But if you're playing a point and this happened, that's fine, you just continue the game. Let's talk about scoring now, how scoring works. So here you are in the black uniform. Because you have the ball, you are serving, you have the arrow in front of you. So you toss the ball, you serve, your opponent hits it, and you hit a winner shot. So you won the point, so you get the first point. Now in the next point also you would serve. So you serve for 2 points and then you change the serve. So this is second point. You serve, your opponent hit the outside shot. So you win this point as well, his name, and you would give ball to him. Now let's assume that the player in the blue played a good point. He won the first point and then he played another good point. He won the second point. Now he has served for 2 points. So serve will change now. So how can you figure out when to change the serve? Whenever the sum of points is even, then you change the serve, whether it's 4, 6, 8, 10. You add your points. If it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, you change the serve. Serve would come back to you and the ball would also come back to you and you would serve and you would continue. So till what point of time you continue? You continue until you get 11 points. Once you get 11 points, then you have won that game. So game comes into the picture. So if you look at the points, you won 11 points. That means you won the game. So you won one game and the point becomes 0-0 and next game would start. Now for the next game, what would happen is the serve would change, because in the previous game you started the serve. So in the next game, opponent would start the serve. Not only that, you also change the sides as well. So you would go to the other side of table and that person would come to your side of the table. So when does game ends? Game ends when you win 3 games. So you win 11 points to win 1 game, and if you win 3 games, then you win the whole match and you are a winner. You are the winner. Now I want to bring your attention to some situation. Let's say you have 11 points, your opponent is 9 points. So because A has 11 points and difference is 2, A won it. If A has 11 and B has 8, difference is 3, you won it. As far as A wins 11 points with the difference of 2, A wins the game. But if it's 10-10 and now A gets 11, the difference is 1. In this case, A doesn't win this game. He needs to get difference of 2, so he needs to win 1 more point. If A gets 12 and 10, difference is 2, now A wins. And whenever game reaches to 10-10, after that, serve changes after every point, not 2 points. So it changes after 2 points till 10-10. Once you reach 10 all, then it changes after every point. Now if A has 11, B has 11, then A needs to make 13 because difference is 0 right now. So once A gets 13, A wins the game. Now you can think of a situation 29-28. Difference is 1, so A is not a winner. A needs to win 30 points to win the game. Now let's talk about the types of shots. So if you simply hit a shot, this is how the ball is going to go. But if you move your racket up, that is known as top spin shot. And in that case, the ball is going to go farther, higher, and faster. If you move your racket down, that is known as backspin. So ball would have a backspin and ball would be slower, it would be shorter, and it would have a spin on it. So these are types of shot you can play. So if you're a person in black uniform, you need to see whether the opponent has a topspin shot or a backspin shot, and accordingly you need to adjust. In table tennis, the bat or racket is very important. Here you see some dots on the bat or racket. Those are known as pimples in table tennis. So there are four main kinds of bats or racket: normal, short pimple, long pimple, and anti-spin. If you see, short pimple would have a shorter pimple and long pimple would have a longer pimples. What is the difference between these four kinds? It is the friction of that rubber. So anti-spin has the minimal friction, whereas normal has really high friction, and then short and long are in between. So if you spin the ball, the normal bat would spin ball way higher than the anti-spin. So that's how, the game changes completely. If you have a normal bat, then you need to adjust for spin heavily, whereas for anti-spin, that's not a concern for you. Here we see that if you hit a topspin shot, depending upon your opponent's bat, the ball can land at different location. If normal, if short pimple, and if using anti-spin, the ball can bounce at a different location. So you need to adjust for the topspin, backspin, and what kind of bat your opponent is using. All these things needs to be taken into consideration. Here we would see an example. So if a ball is having a topspin and it comes to your bat, it's gonna go out of the table. You're not gonna able to make a good shot. So how do you adjust for a topspin shot? If your opponent hit a topspin, you just make the angle of your racket, you just close your face. So normally it would go like this, and this would be an outside shot. So you close your bat, so now it's going on the table. What about backspin? So if ball is coming with a backspin and you don't do anything, then it's gonna go into the net. So what you need to do is open up of your face. If you open the face of racket, then ball is going to get onto the table. If you don't open it, it's going to get into the net. So you need to adjust for all these things, whether ball is topspin or backspin, and what kind of rubber your opponent is using, what kind of face you need to have, closed face, open face. So there's a lot of technicality in the sport which people don't recognize it. Let's talk about the real game. You are in orange uniform and score is 0-0. You are serving. So when you serve, you need to hit the ball on your side and then opponent side. So focus there. You are tossing the ball here and toss, and you hit on your side, then goes to the opponent side. Now you play normally. You hit a great shot. You won the first point. It's 1-0. Again, serve will be your, because you serve for 2 points. You did a good serve. You hit a topspin shot. This is called backhand. Whenever ball comes to your left side, it's backhand. Come to right side, it's called as a forehand. And you hit a great forehand. So you got 2 points. Now service will go to your opponent. Your opponent serve, and you hit a backspin shot. Another backspin shot. You can call it as a forehand backspin because it's on your right side. Now this one is backhand spin, and you won the point. Again, you won 3 points in a row. You're doing great job. Your opponent serve, you hit a top spin shot, you hit a top spin shot, you hit a top spin shot, and then you hit a backhand top spin, and then another backhand top spin, then another backhand top spin, forehand top spin, then you hit a forehand top spin, then you hit a backhand top spin, another forehand top spin, and then backhand top spin, and you hit a backspin shot, and you won the point. You won 4 points. Now your serve. So you serve after 4 points. You're doing pretty good as a beginner, and you hit a top spin shot. Wow, what a winner. So clearly you are a genius player. You are doing pretty good job. So let's get on to the doubles. You're very good at singles.